fellow nerds. We are talking the Echo trailer that just dropped a little while ago. But we're going to break it down, talk about it, because we're pretty excited. This was a series that we had heard was not good. A lot of things factored into that. They were dropping it all in one day. They went from 6 episodes to 5. There was a lot of things that made us go, what's wrong with this show? But then we see the trailer, and it looked good. Now, a good trailer does not constitute a good show. We've seen a lot of good trailers where the movie and or show has turned out to be not as good, Special Investigation being one of them.
Look at any Zack Snyder trailer, and you'll be wowed, and then you'll realize that you just saw everything that was good in that movie in that trailer. Hopefully, this is not the case with Echo. I
hope not. You know, with Vincent D'Onofrio being in it, with Charlie Cox making an appearance, I don't think he has much of a, I don't think he's in it much, but hopefully they get this right. I do know that they've talked about they're changing her powers a little bit. The director had said he doesn't like the whole, photographic
basically being
reflexes.
Taskmaster.
Yeah. So they're changing it up, and it's going to be more rooted in her Native American history and stuff. So, and I'm fine with that as long as they do it well. I'm not going to be one of these, they have to have the same powers. Hey, they do a good job. I just don't want her to become Phoenix in the MCU like she came in the comics. They give her some...
Oh, no. Don't curse it like that, Keith.
I did, no. Didn't I?
Oh.
I'm very sorry. I take that back. It's going to be great. Native American powers, she's going to be great.
And right here, we're going to flash a graphic of Phoenix Force Jean Grey from the latest iteration of the burning dumpster fire that Fox tried to put out.
Good thing it wasn't Jean Grey that was in the post-credit scene of the Marvels.
Oh. It wasn't. Has anybody seen that, by the way? We shouldn't ruin anything for anybody. I know it's already been a week, but
if you haven't seen the Marvels, I apologize. There is a post-credit scene.
Actually, if you have seen it, I still apologize for that scene.
Hey, I like that scene.
No, it's a good scene. It's a good scene.
But are you guys ready to break down this wonderful trailer?
Yeah, sure. It's been a little bit since I watched it, so I'm willing to see it again.
Yeah. Sorry. Should I go get some popcorn?
Maya. I see everything that you are.
Now that
I always have.
Now that, watching that for the first time, when it came out, thinking the show was going to be terrible, and seeing was he a hot dog man or an ice cream man?
I think it was an ice cream man.
Okay. Mocking her because she's deaf, and then seeing, the Kingpin's reaction, I was like, you know what? They're going to dig deep into that relationship between, Echo and the Kingpin, and him raising her, and obviously at that point she doesn't know that, he killed her father. But we do know that some of this takes place after Hawkeye, because we see him with the eye patch and talking about how they're the same and everything. But I think I'm hoping they do a good job of developing that relationship between the two, and maybe some of her more aggressive, physicalness against people comes because of who raised her. Seeing him, beat up the ice cream man because he was making fun of her a little bit. The extent that he goes.
The cabbage man.
As Kingpin's beating him down. My cabbages!
My cabbages!
That'll be great. If we get my cabbages in that, Echo is instantly a 10 out of 10. There will be no debate.
All right, editor, put in a voice of my cabbages as Kingpin walks over to his cart.
My cabbages!
All right, guys, ready for the next scene?
I'm ready for the next few moments. Can't.
Don't be afraid.
You know, we got the ending of that scene, and they are not shying away from the violence. You know, seeing the blood on his fists, and obviously this is a much younger Kingpin too, because he's just beating this guy up right in the middle of the street. So he's not as worried about hiding his stuff. He probably has some power and clout and cops on his side, but you know, his adopted daughter seeing that has to have some impact on her later in life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they did a great job of casting too. She does look like a younger version of the older actress.
I wonder if they're related.
I don't know.
Could be.
Because you're right, they
Well,
do
you know,
look similar.
In now, I have a bunch of questions.
Oh, sorry,
But
the question part's at the end.
Oh,
No, I'm
the
kidding.
part where you're saying he's beating him up out on public. He did that in the Daredevil series too. So is this now? That's my big roundabout question. Are these going to relate to the other Daredevil series? And if so, is this in that? Where is this in that timeline?
Well, this would obviously be what we just saw would be before Daredevil.
Maya and Daredevil, they're about the same age, roughly.
Oh, okay, okay.
They in the comics they date at one point. Yeah,
Is that
well,
before or after she becomes the Phoenix?
before she finds out that he's Daredevil.
Yep,
And
I read
by
this in the
date, I mean
comics.
she dates the way Matt Murdock dates women. Fast and for one weekend.
Yes. She is the female version of Matt Murdock.
Yes.
Only lunches too. By the way, they can't go out at night because he's always out at night.
You're terrible, Dave.
You're rushing. You got somewhere to be? Just gotta go home to bed.
Yeah, I like to get my sleep in.
All right, you guys ready for the next scene?
Do it. There we go.
Oh, really?
You have so much pain in you. So much rage that you kept containing.
And that is obviously the Kingpin kind of talking about what I'm assuming, I shouldn't say I know for sure, but talking post him being shot by her in the Hawkeye finale, because, you know, he's like the rage, you know, all of this. And they kind of show that, you know, she's kind of takes that dude through the wall and is kind of beating him down. And I do believe later in the trailer we see her like taking down some guys pretty violently, very, very Daredevil-esque. Because Daredevil's the same way, you know, he goes that extra mile for that beating so you won't forget it. And maybe it'll turn your life around, maybe it won't, but, you know, we're seeing that out of Echo so far in this trailer.
Well, for Echo, at this point, she isn't a hero, so to speak, yet. She's still very much involved. I assume at this point in the show, I'm guessing she's still involved with the Hell's Kitchen crime syndicates.
I would assume that is correct. Obviously, she was still in it at the end of Hawkeye, so I don't see any reason why, you know, especially with getting her own show, why jump to her all of a sudden being a hero? We need to see that. I'm hoping this series shows us that development. Her going from working in Kingpin's crew to actually, you know, becoming a hero like Daredevil or, you know, any other street level heroes.
They could probably cover that in 5 episodes if they did it right.
Now, do you think, I'm curious, and I know that this might be better suited for the end of the trailer, but I'll just ask it now before I forget. Do you think they're going to treat this the way that, in the direction that they kind of intended for most of these Marvel, they're not using the word series, event. is this also going to be another Marvel event where it's just this one season, if you want to call it that, and then that's it?
It's possible. You know, they do call it is the new like Marvel Studios Spotlight,
Mm-hmm.
which what they're calling it is it's things that sort of take place out of the main continuous storyline, away from the movies. This won't be a part of the
Sacred
multiversal
timeline.
saga. But yes, the sacred timeline. Thanks, Dave. So, you know, I think
I like that.
I think it could be one, you know, season. We could get more depending on how this does. But this could be a one and done. You know, we may see her pop up in Daredevil Born Again and have that story continue there. And this is just
Mm-hmm.
setting some things up. So, you know, the Daredevil series focuses more on Daredevil and doesn't need to run through all this. Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah.
We'll kind of stop it there for a moment because we saw a lot. There wasn't a good cut point there, but we got that little clip of Daredevil, which was
Really
fantastic.
graphic for Disney.
Oh, that shooting when he like shoots the guy standing outside the door.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little shocked by the graphicness of that when I first saw this trailer. That's when I started thinking, okay, Echo might be okay. Disney might be willing to go the Netflix level of violence and blood that made Daredevil so good. You know, just don't do it for everybody. This wouldn't fit in Miss Marvel. But for Echo, Daredevil, Street, you know, Moon Knight,
Punisher.
the Punisher, it fits. So I'm glad they're doing it, and I'm glad they decided to go that way. It's probably, well, it is going to be TV, the first Marvel series that's TVMA. And I thought that was a good choice.
I agree.
I agree. You-
Let's go back to it. We see some, you know, this.
You and I are the same.
So she's swinging, but oops, sorry, we're supposed to be silent.
No. We're switching off that. But I like that, him saying, you and I are the same.
Yeah, she's the one swinging, but it's
Mhm.
his emotion coming out of her. That was kind of cool the way they did that. But it could be a trailer trick for all we know. But you know, that was kind of cool.
No, but I think this series is going to show her that all the things she hates about the Kingpin and how he's done things, she is the same way right now. And I think that's where we'll get that development and where she'll, you know, come out better in the end for all of this because Kingpin's not wrong. You know, what they're showing us, what she's doing, she is just like her adoptive dad.
Yep. You know, I do wonder. So the fact that he was her adoptive dad, I wonder if that is going to be kind of one of the things that separates the MCU Kingpin from the Netflix Daredevil Kingpin, because we never, obviously she wasn't a part of the story at the time, so obviously we got no mention of Echo in the Daredevil series when we were watching Kingpin. We didn't hear anything about her. We didn't see him mention her or work with her or anything like that. So I guess you could say that, we just didn't see those scenes, in order to sort of hand wave it. But I do wonder if this is going to be kind of the first way that we see MCU saying, we've got the same actors, but this is a different Daredevil and Kingpin.
And they did kind of show that in the Hawkeye series. You know, Kingpin seemed to be a little stronger, almost super.
He was definitely closer to his comic book version.
Yep. And I do think you're right. I do think this is going to probably show a softer side of him at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he was raising Echo, even though, the reason she needed a father was because of him. But I think it'll show a little softer side of him. And then also, when he starts when his character arc takes him the opposite of Echo, towards more, the villain. I don't know, a terrible villain, a bad villain, whatever you want to call him. I think it'll be nice. You'll see that the parallels between them too, and how it takes them in different directions.
I like how they're making all of their villains have depth. They're not the mustache twirling villains of the 1970s. Every one of them has depth in their own way. Look at Thanos, look at Kang, now look at Kingpin. And
Well, I will say this: we do have the Daredevil comics to thank for that, because the original version of Kingpin was a mustache twirling ding. He was just a villain of the week for Spider-Man, and the fact that he looked fat but was actually complete muscle and was able to crush Spider-Man by like just grabbing him and bear hugging him. But that was like his only thing. There wasn't anything more than the fact that, like, I don't even think he had the name Wilson Fisk at that point in the Spider-Man comics. I don't know if that was developed until Daredevil. I really wish there was a Not Your Status Quo info, because I could go back and review. So I don't remember.
I think there was a wonderful infocus done by I think Doug. I think Doug did it. It was really well done. Even had footage of the Kingpin from the old Incredible Hulk show, if I remember correctly.
Right, yes, I did.
It was very well done. But, and he was just a Kingpin for a long time. And I think it was when Frank Miller took over Daredevil.
There you go,
He
yeah.
finally got an actual name, and it kind of, well-rounded the character out. Yep.
He had more depth, as Dave just put it.
Yep. He was no longer had the depth of a paper plate. He was actually something, that made him much more endearing and, more popular. The good writers know that. You can't just have this terrible villain that just for the sake of being villain. They have to have something else going on, and they've done a great job with Kingpin.
every
You
one
ready?
of these villains that they keep
yeah.
coming out with are just like they all believe they're doing the right thing.
And that's
You
what you
are right
have to
about that.
have.
Mhm.
Are you guys ready to continue?
Proceed.
Who's the monster?
Here's one eye.
And we see, I love the way he delivers that line. Who's the monster? When I was a boy. No. But, he's there. He's got his patch on. So obviously it takes place after that end of Hawkeye. And she's holding a gun to him. She probably wants to kill him because of what he did to her dad. And obviously, she better not kill him, because that would be terrible. Because, we need Kingpin to show up in Daredevil Born Again. But obviously, she's going to come to that realization that, killing him, it doesn't take away murderers from this world. It just adds a new one. And I think she'll have that thought, hey, you know what? Obviously, I shot your eye. You've suffered enough. I'm not going to have anything to do with you. Maybe not suffered enough, but I've done more than I should have to him. You know what? I need to not get revenge. I need to move on and become a better person myself.
Maybe she ends up thinking she killed him. Because he could seem to bounce back from a lot of things. He took an arrow right in the middle, right in his chest from Kate Bishop, and just snapped it right off like it was no big deal. So
Again, like I said, that's definitely more how he was in the comics. He was such a mass of muscle that he was able to do that. And the only way Spider-Man was actually able to beat him was to unchain himself, untether himself from holding back.
And it felt good.
Well,
we all know Spidey's got some strength.
spoilers for anyone who didn't read the comic, but Kingpin had Aunt May killed, so that's why Spider-Man beat him within an inch of his life.
But Aunt May is back because it's comics.
Also, I have a question, since we're on the topic of Kingpin with the eye patch. Do you think they're going to also go the comic book route and have him do the whole eye transplant and get his eye back too?
Yes.
Okay.
They might not do it, the same way, because that did happen in the comics. The wonderful Daredevil run with Echo and Kingpin.
Yeah.
She shot him in that too, and then he did have an eye patch. And wonderful story. If you haven't read it, you guys should go back and read it because
It's such a good book.
And we get all of these episodes, streaming January 10th.
Which at first, when we first heard that, it was probably one of the most worrisome things about it. We're like, oh boy, they're dumping it all in one go. This must mean that it's terrible, and we are going to hate this series. Like, we already kind of were indifferent about it because of the idea that it almost seemed like they were pulling a Sony. They're like, oh, I know. We're going to use this side character of a side character and give her own series. And we're just like, boy, Marvel, what are you doing, guys? Is this just like filler content for Disney Plus, or what's happening? And then when they said, yeah, and also we're scrapping some of the episodes and we're going to dump them all. And we're like, why though?
And they were originally supposed to come out in 2 weeks? At the end of November, I think, originally.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I think in a week. It was supposed to hit next week, if I remember correctly. But yeah, Marvel's starting to do some different things. They're not, or I should say Disney Plus is doing different things with their Marvel shows.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to get to it tonight, but we did get the What If trailer, and that's dropping December 22nd, and they're getting a new episode every day.
That looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, and that one's going quick. A new episode every day. That's amazing.
Did you guys see Ryan Airy's video about What If?
No, not yet, but I know he was pissed.
He was very upset. He spent the majority of the video basically asking his audience, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I have a family. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to put out a video every day. Would you guys be okay if I skip Christmas? Asking his audience. And then we're not your status quo over here yeah, we'll get to it when we get to it.
Yeah. But he's got hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and we've got.
I don't think he's going to lose them if he misses a day. I mean, the people who watch him, they're going to watch him regardless.
I don't think anyone is going to be watching a Screen Crush video on Christmas Day.
No.
Oh, I gotta find out what they said about this episode of
Right.
What
About
If.
this episode of What If. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You could probably string 3 episodes together, take Christmas Eve off Christmas, and the day after, and string 3 of them together, and people would be.
I mean, I assume the way that we plan on doing it, I don't know, we haven't discussed it yet, but I assume we're just going to do one big, review of the whole series kind of thing. Maybe we'll talk about the premiere episode.
It depends on what days of the week these fall on. We may talk about a few on one day and then another on another, but yeah, we're definitely not coming up with a video a day.
Oh yeah, no.
We've got 9 to 5s and families.
We don't have a staff of writers and editors at our beck and call.
That's right.
We don't steal other people's slogans either.
That's right. Screen Crush.
What's next? Screen Crush.
But I want to go, not necessarily watch the video. I mean, I probably will. I want to read the comments. I wonder if people are like, "Oh, poor Ryan."
I didn't even think to check the comments.
You've got superhero stuff to review on Christmas. I still remember, Heavy Spoilers is UK based, and Star Wars Meg, who covers Star Wars, is UK based. So when Ahsoka and Loki came out at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. 9 p.m. Eastern time, that was like 3 o'clock in the morning or something for them, and they were like, "This sucks. Now I gotta stay up all night." It's like, we were getting at 3 in the morning for the longest time. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're gonna complain, pick your right audience.
And those people are actually doing this for their living, so they can afford to adjust their schedule for 3 in the morning if they want to.
Yeah, when that's your job, when you don't got to get up at 7 in the morning to get to your 9 to 5, you can stay up till 3 and do your video stuff. Not a problem.
Set your alarm at 2. Do whatever you have to do, but you can do it.
Do whatever you have to do. There you go.
Yeah.
But as we usually talk, now that we've seen the trailer for Echo, is your hype level the same, less, or more for Echo?
I would say it's more. That preview did some good. You know, I'm not so worried about it as I was anymore. I'm still a little worried because of the all at once drop time, but I'm not as worried. It looks pretty good. Do you need a number on that hype level?
No.
No? Okay. Well, then I won't give one. How about you, Doug?
My hype level is just slightly higher. You know, it was down here, and now it's about right there. You know, it's I will watch it. I don't think it's going to be as painful to get through as I originally thought. I am curious how you know what sort of changes they've made to Echo. You know, to since she's not essentially going to be another Taskmaster. You know, I'm wondering what she's going to be like. What are they doing with her story? And how much are they going to pull from the comics? I guess that's what I'm curious about most of all. So, I don't even know that I would say I'm hyped. I feel like that's too strong of a word, but I am willing to watch it.
And as before, you were not willing to watch it, but you were going to.
I was before I felt like I was being forced to watch it. Now I'm willing to watch it. Like even if we weren't doing it for the channel, I would probably watch it.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. I think my hype level was very low prior to this trailer dropping because of all the things we heard. You know, kept getting delayed. We heard there was, you know, a lot of problems during the actual filming of this and changing things up and reshoots. And then they're dropping it all on one day and then they lose an episode. I was like, oh, this was one of the first things where I was like, this is going to be tough to watch. Man.
I heard Kathleen Kennedy was involved in all that. Okay, what?
But now, you know, my hype level is a little higher. You know, it's not like through the roof like it's going to be for Daredevil Born Again and things of that, you know, nature, or the next Spider-Man movie if we find out the Kingpin and Daredevil are going to be in it. But, you know, after watching the trailer, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to circle January 10th on my calendar. This might not be as bad as I thought it was going to be. But, you know, we'll let you know when it comes out what we think of it.
We will. You can't stop us. We will. We're going to tell you.
Unless you're YouTube and you cancel our channel, you can't stop us from us putting our thoughts out into the internet.
And YouTube, please don't do that. We've worked really hard on this channel.
Yeah.
A lot of long hours we've put in. So please don't destroy it. We would cry. That'd probably get us more views.
If we cry. Hey fellow nerds, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of this stuff, make sure that you check out our Twitch stream. We try to do these live Sunday or Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep an eye on our social media to find out when you can join in live and chat with us during these live streams. Also, as usual, don't forget to check out our other social media. Add us at Twitter, comment down below, and we'll see you next time right here on Not Your Status Quo.